operating expenses, the costs that a business incurs during the process of performing normal business operations. That's a bit vague, right? Well, we have to think of OPEX as the costs that are different from cost of sales, but are still of operational nature. A company needs to spend on research and development, accounting, top management, rent, utilities, sales personnel, showrooms, advertising, and many other items. So, in this lesson, we will forecast Tesla's operating expenses in the period 2019 to 2028. There is one main consideration that needs to be made, though. Tesla is not that young of a company, but it isn't a mature auto producer either. It continues to grow at a very rapid pace each year, and will probably soon be able to take advantage of the economies of scale that larger auto producers benefit from. Such economies of scale consist of being able to diminish the weight of fixed costs by selling more product units, and therefore decrease fixed costs per unit. If there is one category that resembles fixed costs in the P&L, that is OPEX. So, the amount of OPEX as a percentage of revenue the company spends now is probably not going to stay the same. At some point, OPEX's incidence on revenue is going to decrease because revenues are going to grow faster compared to OPEX. How much? We can't tell, really. The most reasonable way to estimate this is by looking at several comparable auto producers. In this sheet, we've done that. I have calculated OPEX's incidence on revenues for all of these companies by using the information provided in their financial statements. The average OPEX spend has been adjusted, excluding Jaguar and Ferrari, because their OPEX is an outlier by being too high. We've done the same with 𝗘𝘅 because its OPEX was too low. The adjusted average OPEX incidence we've obtained is 12%. I'll go to the next sheet and use 12% as our base case. As usual, subtract 2% to obtain the best case scenario. And I'll add 2% to get the worst case scenario. The best case is an OPEX weight of 10%. Base case, an OPEX spend that is equal to 12% of revenues. And in the worst case, we have 14% of revenues. Excellent. Let's use the choose function in the usual way. I'll select the index value first, fix its cell references, and then go ahead and select the three values for best, base, and worst case. Then I'll go ahead and link the selected case value in our mini table, where we have OPEX as a percentage of revenues. Then the product of OPEX as a percentage of revenues and revenues will give us OPEX in absolute figures. Let's paste to the right and obtain this value for the entire forecast period. Okay, did I miss a step? Yes, I am afraid we did. We forgot to forecast OPEX spend in the second half of 2018. It would be unreasonable to believe that, in the first half of 2018, we have an OPEX spend that is 31% of revenues, and then immediately in the second half of the year, we jump to 12%, as in our base case scenario for some of the other years. Instead, I'll calculate the average OPEX spend in the historical years from 2014 to 2017, and add 6% to it, assuming that the company will be able to grow its revenue faster in the second half of the year, delivering more Model 3s. The best case scenario, we would subtract 3% from the base case, while the worst case scenario would be to add an additional 3% to the base case scenario. repeating the same process as we did for the rest of the periods will allow us to forecast OPEX in absolute figures for the second half of 2018.